everyone, in this video we are going to learn how you can build your personal legal advisor. So we are going to use Bubble and Xano to build this app. So let's get started. But before starting, one thing I just want to highlight, you can learn Xano with me with my 6-week cohort program, and that goes into very basics. How can you set up your database? How can you build your first API and everything? To that, how can you build a scalable database backend? How you will write a complex API? How will you run a background task? And at the end of this cohort, there will be 2 portfolio project also that you are going to build with me. So if you want to join, visit nocodetalks.com/learnjano. You will find the link in the description. Do let me know. Okay, so let's start. First thing is, so what we are going to do. So let me just scratch that. So first, there will be going to be one PDF. Let me just name it first. Legal AI Assistant. Perfect. And so what it does is simply when you upload your PDF, your contract. So upload your contract. Then it will basically check all these functionalities. First is it will give you the summary, what exactly this contract is about. Then it will give you the second thing, what are the red flags are there in this contract. So basically all these contract and everything is too complex, and at least me, I can't able to understand them, and they use unnecessary jargon. And just a fun fact, I think all these contracts should be just like a 2 or 3 paragraph. That's it. Nothing more than that. Just write, okay, this is between this, and but you know how that legal industry works. They have a lot long, like 14, 15 pages contract and unnecessary jargon. So we are building an AI that will give us summary that will just point out what are the red flags. Okay, so there will be one more thing we are going to do is like what are the questions that someone should ask their lawyer about this contract. So there are questions. Okay, that's the only 3 things that we are going to cover in this video. But if you want to actually build a real project with it, real product with it, do your study and figure out, okay, what all kind of services your user can need. But this is just a 3 we want. If you want to build this app with me, you can mail me at your requirement and we can work together on that. Okay, let's start. First is upload the contract. Okay, first we will go in the Bubble and create one app. Let's say legal advisor. Start with the basic feature. First, we are going to build a landing page. So I'm just copy pasting from my other app because that's going to be pretty much straightforward. Okay, this is going to be the header of that. And first we need to just change the style. So right now it's a open send. We will make it as an enter, or we can make it as a, okay, let's keep it an enter. Just with the basic stuff. And I'm not going to focus more on the UI, but rather than on the functionality as we already always do. So that's why I just copy pasting all the UI things. So we will just change the heading to the personal legal advisor. Perfect. Get started. This is just a copy of that. Change it to the legal AI. Perfect. We will get just a padding of margin of 120. Perfect. Now my landing page is created. Perfect. Looks perfect. Okay. So now we need to head over to our creating a sign up and login. So what we are going to do, simple. Again, I'm just copying the UI part of it that we can easily set up. And now we will say auth. Okay. So this is the login. Then we will change it to just to change the copy so that user can familiar with. Okay. Get this copy and paste it here. Perfect. Login, sign up, email. That perfectly works out. Now just go to the sign up page. Same. And if you see, my sign up box is set up on a condition. So when get path is optional, and that is a okay. we just need to create an option set. So if you're not familiar with the option set are the public variable, you can say, that download on whenever you download the your web page get downloaded. So that's where it shows. And same way we need to show it on the button option login. So what we have done is we have created a two UI, one for the login and one for the sign up. So whenever in our path parameter, URL path parameter, login is there, then it will show only the login. If it is sign up is there, then sign up group will be there. Let me just show you quickly. When someone click on this sign up thing, you say go to the page, auth page, and data to send is, since this is a sign up, we will pick the sign up and display. If you have any doubt or any question, just comment it down. I will happy to answer it. And same goes for this, and just copy paste it. Perfect. Now, whenever someone click on login, let me just give you the login thing more padding so that it is clickable. Same goes to other also. Perfect. Now, whenever someone click on this login button, just add the workflow and then go to page auth. But this time we will send the login parameter to get an option, login, close, display. Okay, one more thing we need to do is whenever someone click on this here, it will also change to option, sign up, display. Perfect. And whenever someone click here, it will go to the login thing. So just choose the login. Yes, perfect. Now if you just preview it, remove this debug mode thing. Okay, so first we click on this button, it will land here. We have perfectly sign up page and then the login thing. Now we need to create a table in our Xano database so that whenever someone click on new account, it will store that information. One quick question we will answer here is why we are not using Bubble but Xano. Okay, so since this is just a project template, we can use the Bubble also. But I just want to show you if you want to build an scalable and don't want to set up your pricing against the users of your app, then it's better to go with the Xano because Xano have a fixed pricing of plan start with the $99 and you can scale to any number of user. Second thing is we are going to use Xano connector plugin. So your workload unit are not going to increase at all. So at your side, Bubble side, your plan pricing remain constant and you will not charge a lot and every backend logic and everything will be handled in Xano. Perfect. Now comes to the Xano. So once you create an account, you can use my link also, referral link also to get a 10% discount on your plan. I think, yes. If not, yes. Okay, someone has used it. Thanks a lot. So you will get a 10% discount on your all the billing, Xano billing. So come to that instance and now create a workspace. So we will give a workspace legal AI skip setup. Okay, so it's whatever we are using Bubble and we want to know we don't table. Yeah, we want user table, so we will keep it. And also we want okay, we don't want any table, we will use just create a card, skip for now. We're just using we can create workspace. So once we have set up this in the Xano, and if you see, come into the database section, you will see the user table is already created there. Whatever name, email, password, and that what we needed. Perfect. And if we go in the API section, we already have a auth. Auth basically your login and sign up API endpoint that is already available. And if you require get or add user, that is also available. That is automatically created by the Xano. Perfect. The first thing is the user sign up. Perfect. So what we will simply do, go to our Bubble side of it because the first thing we need to do is sign up. Perfect. So sign up have a first name, last name, email, password, and everything. So what we are going to do, go to the plugin and add plugin here, search for Xano and install this Xano connector plugin via Elite. Perfect. And when it asks you some of these things, we are going to copy it. So first is API group URL. So what is the group URL is there? So if you go to your Xano thing and go to API, so these all are the API groups. And this is the copy. If you just click on this copy base URL, this give you the API group URL. So just copy that from there and paste it here. Same goes for the debug. Now the data source. So data source will be this is the data source. Right now we are using live. If you have created another, then you can put that too. So we will say live and same for the header. Then is group URL. That is pretty similar. Just copy there, paste it there. Now the data source, again, just copy it live. Perfect. Now on the auth page, to authenticate, we first need to call any element Xano auth and paste it anywhere, wherever you feel like. And it asking, do you want to have custom response for it or not? Right now, we will not do it, anything, and simply come here and click on this sign up. And whenever someone click on it, they sign the Xano user up. So we are not using Bubble at all. So we are not using its functionality at all also. So all the database related functionality like current user and everything, we are not using that. So simply we'll say sign the user up. And the first name, it will be the input, first name, sign up, and just quickly pass it. Last name, email, and the password, input, sign up password, perfect. And once that is successfully done, it will expose the Xano auth user is logged in. Perfect. Now, when successful logged in, we want user to go to on our dashboard page. So we have to create that dashboard. They go to dashboard, and that will also show us like if everything works perfectly or not. Perfect. Now we are just focusing on this, and same way we have to do with the login. Now, if you again open the login button, if you click here and add the workflow, say use this action, log the Xano user in. So the email will be login email and then the password. Perfect. Now, if you if you focus one thing, if you moved on one thing, if you see the form of sign up, it have a first name, last name, email, and password. Perfect. And now, if you go to your Xano and go to the, so for example, sign up, here it will have a name parameter, not first name and last name, single name. So we will going to change it. So what we simply click here, text and say full name, sorry, first name, and the second thing is last name. Perfect. And we will remove this name thing also, delete it. And while adding the user, since we only have the name parameter, one thing you can do is like you can have a different one more column that will store the last name and this column store the first name, but we don't want to do it. So what we simply do, we just combine both the first name and last name. So we'll say first name, add filter, concat, two values together, and the last one. Just give a space between the first name and last as a separator. Perfect. And don't forget to publish it also. Like you have to publish it. And hope you are enjoying the build time and also understanding what I'm trying to teach you. And if you have any question, any doubt, do let me know. Okay, perfect. Now, if you simply run it, first we need to test it. We already have. Now we will, what we are going to do, just come here and test here. If it is successful, then it will go to the dashboard page. If not, then we will see the error. So if you simply right click and inspect and click on this console thing, and now just start say Nocode and then say test1 at the test.com, and then password is test1234, and simply click on this sign up. See, we are redirected to dashboard. That means everything works perfectly. And now we will going to check into our Xano side of it. Like Xano got a user detail or not. So if you say database and see user, now you see first name and everything is there, but if you see name is not there, even we passed the name, but it didn't get. Okay, now how to debug that these kind of thing? So go to the dashboard, come here API request and see, yeah, this is the sign up request and see what are the input it got and what are the, okay. If you see the parameter for first name is name underscore first, we got it rather than, but we have a first underscore name. So we have to change it. So instead of a first name, it will be have a name first. Perfect. Same goes for the last name also. Perfect. And now just to keep the thing sorted, we are going to put a one button that says log out and say Xano user log out. And also whenever someone log out, we go to the, okay, we need to pass the auth here to drag that. And whenever some element is logged out, whenever the Xano user logged out, go to page auth and what is the, so the sign up page. Perfect. Now we just logging out. Perfect. It logged out and we come here. And now for that user, we are going to delete this entry for now so that we can check it and say Ankur Kandilwa, say test1@test.com, say test1 2 3 4 5 6 and say sign up. If you see it perfectly sign up. And now again we will check in our DB. Now again the value is not there. What is the issue? Oh, this is the one thing you need to also remember it. Whenever you make changes into the API, don't forget to publish it. I just told you and I already not following. Okay, now we will again say Ankur and use a different email ID. And now if you see here, just refresh it. We got the name and the email ID and everything perfect. Now this is perfect, but now we want log in. So how? So yes. So since we already have set up everything, it should work for now. If we should say test2@test.com and perfect. We come on the dashboard. That means we are successfully logged in. Perfect. Now we are going to build our dashboard part. And if you want to take break, take it break. So perfect. So come back from the break and hope you also took a break in between. So just to remind you, we have created a login, sign up and landing functionality. Now we create actual functionality that is on the dashboard landing page. And if you are familiar with the thing, so first we need to upload the contract and then we will process it with the AI functionality. Perfect. Now to add the okay, so to add the AI functionality, we are going to use something similar. And first we are giving an option to upload the PDF and then we will convert that PDF into the text and then stored it so that it will so that we can process it further. Correct. So let's see how. First we need to set up the file uploader. So let's say file uploader, basic one, default one that it is width should be at least 200, max width is 200, and it goes into the center. Perfect. And now we will put up one button that says process it and put into the center container and just add some width so that looks good. Perfect. Now, as soon as it add, it should send to our Xano database. How? So we are on the database and we are going to create one table here so that we can store the contract. Let's say we give it name contract and it will automatically add the basic operation that we wanted and simply say add table. And first thing is the contract PDF. Contract PDF URL. Perfect. Second stuff is contract text. That's where we are going to process it. Perfect. I think that's the only thing we required it for now. And yes, if you go into the API and see contract, it will automatically generate all these API. We need a add post. So it will have a text and that's perfect. Okay. So one thing if you see here, it's right now is public API. We don't want it. We actually want it so that only our user can process it. Okay. And one more thing, we need to store it. Sorry, who have uploaded this contract. So we will say, okay, table reference user ID. Perfect. Now in our API, we are going to make it as a private, only authenticated user can make a this request. Otherwise, so we are going to setting and we are going to say authentication, user authentication, say save. Perfect. Now while adding the contract, user ID is, so we are going to remove it. So we are going to remove and we are going to, if you see, go to the auth. Okay, it's not showing. It should show authentication ID. So if you come here and see, perfect. So now if you see in the auth, we have a ID because that was taking and also we need, okay, we will simply say revert all changes, restore to this changes. So if you see, we have a contact URL, contact text, and in that add record, we are not passing any user ID. So we will go to the auth and pick the ID. So whoever calling that ID and that if they have an authenticated user, that user ID automatically assigned to our user ID. Perfect. Now it will just simply publish it. Perfect. Now we come to the our bubble side of it thing. So as soon as someone click on this process it, we want to convert this into the text. How? Go to this plugin and click on the PDF, search for the PDF to text plugin. And this is the plugin I have built it and you can use that. So I'm just using to subscribe for it. Got it. Perfect. Nothing you need to do it. Simply go to here and say PDF to text. URL will be https and then the file uploader URL. Perfect. Once we so now we have that this action will convert the PDF to the text. Once we get that text PDF text, we need to send it to the Xano. How we will do that? Since if you see here, this is the API that is a post API. So what we need to do is simply come here and drag the Xano and what is the data type here, and if you come here and simply run it and you need to pass it here token and suppose any, I'm just adding any random URL for now that will help us to google.com and say this is, that's perfect, and simply run it. So now you can simply copy that JSON and go to your plugin and download the API connector. Why we are doing it? We are not making any call from the API connector, but actually we need to pass the data type and we need to pass the Xano data type, that Xano return data type, but we don't have any way to define it. So that's why we will take leverage of the API connector. We simply say Xano and say here contract and simply say manual upload, paste it, say, just don't forget to map the correct data type. This is date, say perfectly. Now come back and here search for the contract. Yes, that's all. And also where here you need to pass the group URL. So if you see we are only using the same group URL, API group URL that we have used for the auth thing. So we don't need to pass any other. But if you create a new API group and then there you pass this contract API, then you need to pass that to that thing. So we simply say copy paste URL, but we don't really need to pass it. It will automatically take from the plugin setting from here and we come here. That's the only thing. And now whenever say process it, and also one more thing, say Xano action, add contract. Simply say add it, and now we will say Xano. So if you see, there is an action called trigger a Xano action. Choose automatically the method and endpoint will be. So if you go here and choose this is the endpoint. So this is my endpoint / contract. And if you come here and simply pass it here, custom parameter. So we don't need a custom parameter, but we need these two simple parameter. So these are the two input that we require to send to this API. So we define here, just copy that, pass it here, and another one is contract text. Perfect. Now that is here, and contract text with the result of one converted text, and the URL will be arbitrary text. That is going to be https / and the file uploader URL. Perfect. Value URL. Perfect. And come here and set up an element here, and let's say element as an action return a response. So basically, whenever successfully this API call happen, it will return the response, and that we can pass here. And I'm just going to drag the error alert so that we know what kind of API response it is get. So error alert, standard, say success, contract added successfully. Perfect. And yes. And we will add one more element action, that is Xano action return throws the error. So if we got an error, so we say standard, and that should be the error one, and say error with add contract. Perfect. And just print the error. Say this Xano action error message contract. I hope you are able to understand it. So what I have simply set up a simple post API in my Bubble setup. So just to give you the quick glance, what I have done is simply create an API into the Xano. Since this is simple API and CRUD API that Xano already created it, but we have made a little bit changes like the user ID, because we want it to the authentic. We want it so that only authenticated user can do it. And then set up this into the bubble. To set up it, we just drag that Xano action element and pass the data type. And data type we have defined into the API connector. And that's it. And then whenever someone click over it, it will come here and convert the text, convert the PDF into the text with the help of plugin PDF to text. And then step 2 is trigger that API call. Perfect. Now just check if it is working, not working, what is actually. Okay, so asking me password, username, password. Perfect. Now we simply upload it. Let's suppose upload the contract. So this is one contract I had with one of the freelancing client, and simply say process it. It's processing. Perfect. So we already get that contract added successfully. Now we need to check in our database, is it added or not? Go to the database, go to the contract, and you see value is added, but we didn't get any text. So that is one error. So we will see why it is. So I think that is called earlier. So we will simply say is not empty. Then only make the API call, otherwise no. And also we will check the what are the API calls like. So if you see see a detail and see contract and see input, see nothing is passed from the contract. So something wrong with this plugin that didn't give us a it didn't give us a text, but we try again. And we will simply click on this inspect and see the error. If there is any, no, nothing is there. So simply say contract and process it. We didn't get any error. No API calls will also happen. Let me just check it. Look like this file is not empty. And just to verify. Okay, let's try it one more time. What exactly the issue? I think it's because of the upload the PDF perfectly, and now just wait for it. Now simply click on this process it, and it works also. Now come back to here and see nothing is there. So we will now use the debug method and figure out where exactly the error. Okay, so we need to stop our console method. Okay, simply say step by step, upload the PDF, simply say here, perfect. Now say process it. Now perfect. Okay, so if you see the error with the PDF URL, we have a /, but we should not have. So we will just remove our by default that we have added. Same here also. Now this will work perfect. So that's how you debug it quickly. So simply again upload the contract and process it. Perfect. Now we got an message. Okay, contract added successful, and now we will check into our uh, database. Simply perfect. Now we got some text also and everything, and we will just remove these two entry just to delete it. Okay, perfect. Now we don't want to upload it again and again, but so we will just lift down all the contract that is added, and then we will process it and run our operation that we actually want to do. So we'll say repeating group. Perfect. And okay, first we need to fetch the data. So again, we need a Geno query. So Geno query used to fetch the list of data. And if you come here in our dashboard in our API, we need to create one API to that will return the list of all the contract that is uploaded on our data. And if you see that we have already there, so this is one and this is query all record. So if simply okay, one more thing we need to change it. We need to make it as authenticated one, not the public one. And also we need to only return the data that is related to only authenticated user. So what we simply do, custom query and say contact user ID is equal to auth ID. So it will only return the authenticated user data. So just to check, see, simply run it and it return the only this user data, not other thing. And what we simply do, yes, perfect. Now we will just publish it. Don't forget to publish it. We always forget it. Perfect. Now back to here, we will say return type is contract and data source will be this Geno query. Sorry, not this is the action and auth and this is a Geno query. So always name it so that you don't list of contracts. So you don't forget okay, which query is this for what. So pass the type is endpoint will be now go back to here and copy that endpoint. Yes. Now you will say to adding the record, we also have a same contract endpoint, and to get the record, we have a same endpoint. How that is possible? Okay, if you give a focus, you will feel like okay, this endpoint is similar to what we have done for the add record. But if you see further here in the API setup, here we are setting up the GET request. Perfect. Not the our add contract was a post request. Now it's a GET request. And perfect. This we also don't need to pass the group URL. Here we don't need to pass any parameter. And perfect. Now we will set up something just to drag it. I'm not very focusing on the UI again. So that will say current contract URL. And that will be one more that will say current contract as but truncate to only 200 character. Otherwise it will be too much. And works perfectly. Both can be go into one. Okay, one more we have to put on the button. Say view process perform process it. Perfect. And now if you just make it as a yes, and into the row perfect. And now this will going to be four item, not four item, full item, everything whatever is available, 0, so that and this is going to be center, and then this group will have some gap, say 20, and again this is going to be center. Perfect. So now we have already set up our get all the records API. And it should work, but it is not. Now we need to check it why it is not working at all. Okay. Perfect. Now we need to check why it is not. If you see network and refresh it again, we need to figure out why that API is not working. Perfect. So the API was our contract. So this is a contract and it returned the result. But just to see, okay, we look like we forget to map it. Okay, here we need say Geno query and list of contract and data. Yeah, we forget to map the result to the repeating group. Now it is there. Perfect. I don't go look for the perfect. And Now we will just give a one padding also, some look better. Current one is look like, and also, and I'm just removing that also to 100 icon. Perfect. Now, whenever we click on the process, we will go to that next page where we are going to run these operations. Perfect. Now, okay. So whenever we will go, we will simply go to the page and say create a new page, and let's say legal advisor, and simply create it. And here we always pass legal advice, and data will be parent group ID. So here we will going to keep this record ID so that we can easily refer it. Okay, and now we will simply go it and go to that page and just type the content is the okay. So this will should go as a text. No, we will as a format as a number. Now that works perfectly, and just refresh it. So as soon as it come here, and we will pass the ID of that, and we will going to create a one button, so that we can actually process it. One is for summary. Second one is red flags. Give me the red flags of this contract. And third one is the third one that we have is questions. Like what is the questions I should ask to my lawyer? Perfect. And that is going to be app content. Perfect. We will just put all of them into the one group and say space apply 2020, and that also 6 bit, and also the minimum should not be 6p and should be center. Oh, sorry. Here, horizontal. Perfect. And let me just give them some more margin, top margin 100, so that it's actually okay. Okay, perfect. Now, first action is the summary. As soon as we get the option, we need to summarize this document, and no one can read it actually. Okay. So we are going to here, and we will create an API for that. How? Simply click on add endpoint. Simply say start from the scratch, and it will be the post call. You can choose whatever you just want to keep it, and give it like, okay, get contract summary. Perfect. Authentication will be yes. Only the authenticator user can perform this exercise. And here will be the table, not table reference, just simply say integer and say you contract ID. So we need to pass the contract ID that we want to process it, and for that we want to generate the summary. Perfect. As soon as we got the contract ID, we will fetch it record. We will say query, or sorry, simply say get record contract, and pass that contract ID, and works perfectly. Perfect. Now we need to create a summary of it. How? To get the summary of it, we are going to use a group. This one Groq. Since this is the free one. Okay, and they have also API access. You can use OpenAI for that also, but I am going to use it because why not? First, we need to create a token. Perfect. Here, first we are going to create a one token, say YouTube video. Don't try to copy that and use this token. I'm going to delete it for your thing. So just copy, generate your own thing, copy, and just keeping it at my side. Oops. Perfect. And now done. Now if you come on the documentation side of it and simply click on this curve, here we can simply pass the text along with the model that we want to process and give the instruction. Okay. So it's simply just copy that curve, go to the Xano, and here say external API request, simply import curve. Simply import it. Now it already set up everything, and the model is look like okay for me. And text. Okay, this is the prompt that is need to be provided. Okay, so simply pass the prompt something like So the say you are the legal, you are my legal advisor. So act like that. Here is my legal contract and pass it as a yes. And so star sorry percentage has will there will be my contract will be there, and then I need to give the action to summarize, give me summary, and also we can pass the summary also. Your task is to give me summary of the legal document in okay. Perfect. And here's my legal contract. Perfect. Update. And since we have passed, okay, nothing is passed. That's the issue. Oh, we forget to click on the save. So you say act as my legal advisor. You will get my legal contract, and your job is to give me summary of that. Here is my contract. And say percentage and click on the save button and say add filter, say as printf. So why we are using as printf? Because we can use either use concat and as printf also, since we have used percentage s, so that will concate my string. So what is the string concat is, if you see contract a and add filter, now we need to fetch the value. Say path will be the contract. So if you see, come here, this is the my path. Just copy its value, name and contractor, and say contractor and null save. Just and pass this token also that we have copied. So this is a copied update and timeout. Just increase the timeout. Sometimes the task will not perform in the 10 seconds, then it will take more than that. Perfect. Now, if we just for the testing purpose, if we just pass the contract ID 1, and if you see, we don't have any contract ID 1, so we just change it to the 3, and we have authenticated any user. And okay, one more thing we need to return is the API response, API 1, whatever the response we get, and simply say run. And we got this. This is the response, say invalid API key. Why it is saying so? It's saying my API key is wrong, but I think I just copied it correctly. It's still saying my wrong. Why? Invalid API key. Why the API key is showing me the error? Authorization error. I think it should work out. Perfect. So if you see, API is set up perfectly, and the error was like it stood in the same line rather than the. So we have fixed the error, and if you run it, it works perfectly. So this is I have run it, and okay. First we need to publish it. So let's suppose we simply say publish it. Now we need to connect it as a post API into the bubble, and we follow the same drill. So we will just drag that channel. Okay, one more thing that we have is right now it return a lot of data that we don't really require it. So what we simply say, whatever the output that is coming out, say get and say path response and say update, and then again we will call it as a response we got. Now we have this complete header, but we only require this result. So whatever the result we got it, so simply say result. Perfect. And now everything, whatever it comes here, it will just simply, if we again run it, this is what it returns. Perfect. And so what we simply copy that, come to our Bubble app and go to the plugin and go to the API contract. And again, here we will add one more data type for the summary. So we say contract summary. Perfect. And here we will pass that data. Perfect. And simply click on save. ID will be the tag. This is the number, not number. This is the date. And model is this. This is also a number, whatever the data, and looks perfect. I think that looks perfect. Now we have set up the data. Now we need to again drag the Xano action and say contract summary. Perfect. And this is the same group URL. We don't need to pass anything. And whenever someone click over it, simply go here and say trigger Xano action. The endpoint, we are going to copy it from here. This is our endpoint. Just copy it here, and this is the post call. So this is a post call we have, and plus this one. And we need to pass the parameter, and what is the parameter name is public whatever. This is a parameter. This is a contract ID. Perfect. And if we need to get data from fact, so and we will simply say text, one more text here that says okay, processing contract ID, get data from path, so that we know if it is pointing to the correct contract ID or not. Okay, now I think looks pretty similar. This is a trigger, this action one, and we will set up one more element. If it is throw response, then we are going to store it into the custom state. So the legal advice and creates a summary text, and it should have this Xano action return thing, and it should work. You see choices, first item, and message content. This is our summary that LLM has returned it, and if we get an error, then we are going to showing it. Alert, standard error, something went wrong. Say this Xano action error code, error message on track. Perfect. Now that looks perfectly good. Now we simply refresh this, and now we simply say process it. And if you see the ID is passed here, and we are showing it here, that works. That means perfectly. Okay, we forget to do one more thing. Whenever we got the summary, we need to show it to the user. So we will simply drag that and refer to the legal advisor. This is a page name and say summary. Perfect. And we just simply say 780, make it as a center, and add some padding. So let's suppose 32, and we are going to add some padding in it so that it looks much more better. Yes, just refresh the page. I hope everyone is able to understand it. It's pretty standard API call. So simply say summary, the thing works out. So something is, oh, got it. This is the summary that we got it. And it looked good for me. So, and that basically convert this 5-page contract into the simple this summary. You can modify if you want to make it shorter, you can modify the prompt and everything and play with it so that you know more about it. So this is the first part, and now we are going to do the red flag thing. So we want to highlight what is the red flag in this contract so that we can tackle about it. So how? The similar thing. You will come here, create an add endpoint and say start from the scratch, authentication enabled. I hope you are getting my point, how to set up the Bubble, Xano, and you can build your own app. So with these tutorial, my priority is you will build one product yourself and try to sell it. And if you don't want to build it and you want to hire me, you can just mail me your requirement and we can further talk about it. Okay, say post and say get red flags. Red flags not in your girlfriend, but in your contract. It's simple. And or better, we just copied the last one. So how we should just delete it. Okay, we are not doing it from the scratch. We can simply copy it, simply say and say clone and point and say get red flags. Perfect, because both calls are going to be similar, exact similar, but we need to change the prompt. And your task is to give me red flags mentioned into the contract as the receiver, because always contract between the two parties. One is party one and party two. So party two, that is me, is the receiver of that contract Perfect. Update it, save it, and test it. Say 3 and say simply say run it. Now if you see, this is something they have given me. Okay, perfect. Now, oh, it is not saved yet. Oh, that's the issue. Sorry, we forget to update it. Okay, so you give me a summary, not summary. Give me, okay, give me the red flags mentioned in this contract given to you as the receiver. You can customize your prompt. The good prompt is the better result it gives. Simply click on save. I always forget that. Save, save, and simply run it. Okay, so if you see, okay, it's perfectly giving us some red flag. Perfect. Now we just need to come here, and whenever someone click on this red flag, and we first we are to just one more action and make it as a and Geno action get red flags. Perfect. And data type and everything will be the same because the same result we are getting it. So we don't need to create one more. But if you want, you can. So trigger Geno action and pick up a red flags. Okay, endpoint will be, okay, we need to publish it also. We forget to publish it. Get red flags. Perfect. Now we have set up and we just need to pass the contract ID also. Contract ID. And that is get data from page. Perfect. Contract ID. Now again, we will simply do it the same thing. The what we have done is for summary. So Geno action return a response. Choose the correct Geno action, red flag one, and simply store it. Legal advisor, red flags. Perfect. And that is going to be there. So that is going to be this Geno action, return things, choices, first item, message, content. Perfect. And same if we got an error, we say throws an error and say generate red flag and say error alert and standard error with red flags. Say error. This Geno action error message. Perfect. Now we will simply read. Okay, one more thing is same. We need to legal advisor, that is add summary. Perfect. Now we simply refresh it. If we correctly set up everything, it should give us a red flags. Simply click on it and wait for the result. Perfect. So this is all the potential red flags. So independent contractor, while these are legitimate reasons, so these all are the context. So the better the prompt you have, the better it gives the response, and it's pretty fast in my sense also. And now comes to your homework. So it's your homework to set up this prompt. What is the question I should ask to my lawyer? Set up similar way and do comment it. And if you have got any issue or you once you successfully completed your last section, that is what is the question I should ask. If you successfully set up the endpoint, do let me know. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you want to learn Geno from me, you can join my cohort program for 6 weeks. That is starting from 6th of May. If you are watching it before 6th of May, and that have a very limited seat, only 15 people I am considering, so that I can focus on every people, everyone's involved. So let me know what you thought and everything.